guys, and welcome to another escape wheel watch review. Today we're going to be looking at the STEELDIVE 1953, otherwise known as the STEELDIVE Submariner homage. So they do the 1953, which is this one, which has the date, complication, and applied indexes. And they also do the 1954, which is a no-date model with painted indices. So just keep that in mind. I think they're the same price and same case and all that stuff. So just two different looks for the same type of watch. You can pick this up on AliExpress for about $90, and that's with this bracelet. It doesn't cost any extra for the bracelet, so I guess you might as well get it on the bracelet, even though I'm not really impressed with it. But it's better than the rubber strap from what I've heard and what I've seen. So they sell it in green, they sell it in black, and they sell it in blue. Then, like I said, they sell it on the stainless steel, and they also sell it with a couple rubber straps if you can find them. So first off, I want to say a big thank you to Chris at the Week on the Wrist channel. I'll leave a link up here and also probably down below. Go check him out. He's got a really cool channel, lots of nice watches, really good guy. So yeah, go give him some love. He sent me a couple watches. I sent him a couple of my watches. So we just did a little watch swap. And yeah, so this is my second watch from him that I'm doing. The other one was the Captain Willard from STEELDIVE. So yeah, let's jump right into the review. Starting off with the dimensions, got a 40.5 millimeter case, 13.3 millimeters thick, 20 millimeter lug width. You got a 47.6 lug tip to lug tip, and since this does have the male protruding end links, the overall length is 53.5. So it's your typical Submariner case size. It wears exactly like you would expect it to wear. Yeah, we'll get into the wrist shots here in just a second. But the case finishing on this actually done really nicely. So you got the vertical brushing on the top, you've got polished on the sides, polished crown guards. You do have a nicely signed crown there. Yeah, there's no real surprises here. It's done pretty well. I would say it's on par or better than Pagani design. So that's kind of the big competitor to this, I would say, is the Pagani PD1661, which I did review. I'll leave that up here. I actually still have that watch. So I think I'm going to save the comparison to the end of the video. So I'll just concentrate on this guy right now, and we'll bring in my other Hulks, and we'll do a little comparison here and there. But yeah, I think overall the case finishing is done really nicely. You got a nice signed case back here. It's a typical screw-in case back, which I love to see over like what San Martin does with the Rolex style case back. I hate those case backs, but this one is done really nicely. And you've got that circular brushing also on the back of the case back. I've got no complaints with it. I mean, it wears exactly like you would expect it to wear, because it's a pretty flat case, but yeah, it's a Submariner, so you know how it's going to wear. But either way, I'm going to go outside, throw this on a bunch of straps for you guys, and we'll get back to the review. So here it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. I mean, it wears exactly like you'd expect. You've probably had this on wrist or something similar to this on wrist before. It wears no different than most other sub cases. So yeah, it looks really good, fits really good. Lots of sparkle from that bezel. Out in direct sunlight here, you can see nice sunburst effect to the dial. It's a little bit yellow, and there's the AR coating working pretty well, cutting down on reflection, but you can see that blue tinge to it, which kind of distracts in my opinion. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I got a bunch of straps for this thing, so let's get to it. Yeah, here it is on a green rubber B strap that Chris sent along with the watch. I think it looks really good on this one. Very comfortable, really cool looking. You can get these things all over AliExpress. And yeah, this one fits it great, and I think looks pretty cool. And here's a watch steward elastic strap, looking really good. I also really like this strap. It looks good on pretty much everything, and I don't know what it is, just the way that it sits on the wrist. It's really, really nice, very comfortable as well. But yeah, I think it looks really good with the green dial. Here it is on a Barton Silicone Elite, looking really good as usual. Love these straps, very comfortable, very nice. And they look good on pretty much everything. So, yep, looking good. And here we are on a Vario single pass. This is kind of a heavy duty single pass strap. Yeah, it looks really good. I love this strap. It's very comfortable as well. And I'm going to go throw it on one more Vario strap, and we'll get back to the review. Last but not least, this is the Vario leather strap. It's great. I love this strap. Looks so good on pretty much everything. This is no exception. Yeah, just lots of taper to the bracelet. Looks really good. But let's get back inside and get back to this review. All right, let's talk about the bezel on this. So it's a ceramic bezel insert. You can see all the markings here. It doesn't have a traditional lume pip, and that's because all these markings in white are filled with BGW9 lume. We'll get to the lume shot a little bit later, but it's great. The top surface to that bezel is polished, and then you've got a circular brushing on the bottom part of it, and all these nice serrations for lots and lots of grip. And you're kind of going to need it because it's a little stiff, but it's a very solid bezel action. Absolutely no play. I think they put a bigger gasket in here just to give it that resistance that it needs. I would rather have a bezel that's too tight with enough grip to turn it than something that's too loose. So yeah, I'm overall pretty satisfied with it. It could be a little bit more loose, but yeah, it's really a good bezel. And like I said, there's no play in it at all. And everything aligns spot on. Really nice to see. Good bezel. Really happy with it. The crystal on this, it's a flat piece of sapphire. It does have a cyclops at 3 o'clock. You can see it magnifies the date really nicely. You also can kind of see that blue tinge there, and that's because there's blue and a reflective coating on the underside of that crystal. I love it and I hate it at the same time. So you can see here it works really good to keep the reflections down, but when you get it in that light, it's yeah, I just can't get over the blue. It's almost too blue, and it almost puts like a milky film over the crystal. It's weird, but most of the time it doesn't bother me. So zooming way into the dial here, you can see it's a glossy dial. So you can see the reflection of that second hand. You've got a nice STEELDIVE logo printed at the 12 o'clock position, then automatic 300 meter at the 6 o'clock position. Really, I think, well executed as far as the indexes go, and the lume application and the hands. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this handset. It's a lot nicer than the Pagani design handset, for instance. Obviously, the lume on this thing is just gonna blow it away. But the dial color is where I think they fall short. So I'm going to see if I can get it here. It doesn't really show up too much there. Here, we'll bring in the Pagani. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but the STEELDIVE is kind of it's more of a army green, almost a yellowish green compared to like the deep green of Pagani. So just keep that in mind. I'm not a huge fan of it. I like the bezel color, but I don't really like the dial color. That's just me. If you like it, I think it's a no-brainer between those two. Just get the STEELDIVE. But yeah, other than that, like I said, everything is filled with BGW9 lume, and the lume is killer on this thing. So I'm going to pop up a lume shot right now. You can see the San Martin sub on the left, the STEELDIVE in the middle, and then the Pagani sub on the right-hand side. And I set the exposure for the Pagani design just to give it some sort of a chance, but in reality, the STEELDIVE and the San Martin, they're pretty close to each other. I think the San Martin still beats it, but the fully loomed bezel on the STEELDIVE is excellent, and you can see it just destroys the Pagani design. So it's really not even a competition. Very, very happy with the lume on this guy. Let's get into the movement real quick. So like I said, you have a 3 o'clock crown here. It's nicely guarded. Lots of grip. It's a little bit more coarse threading than both the San Martin and the Pagani, but it's not horrible. You do get a nice satisfying pop out from the NH35. So it's got the 40-hour power reserve, 6 ticks per second. It hand winds, it hacks, it does everything you need it to do. It's affordable, it's reliable, and yeah, I've got no problems with the movement. And it's been running really pretty accurate for me too. So yeah, no big issues. Winding in, same complaint is that it's just a little bit more coarse than the Pagani and the San Martin, but that's pretty much it. No major complaints with the crown or the movement. So let's talk about the bracelet. So this does come on a stainless steel bracelet. Like I said, it's got solid links, solid end links, push pins for adjusting. You can see those there. It's got just a pressed clasp. It's not a very nice clasp, pretty rattly. Just not a big fan of it. I mean, it's not horrible. It's comfortable at least, and it's nice and low profile. You do have 3 micro adjusts, but yeah, it's just not a great feeling bracelet, and mostly because of this first link. I mean, there's way too much play there. Look at that. That's not great. But the end link fitment is actually pretty impressive. You can see the brushing line reflection there from the light. It lines up nicely, so it's nicely contoured to the case, I think. It's just that first link is just really bad. It does start at 20 millimeters, like I said, and tapers down to 18. So it's not your typical 20 to 16, which I prefer. So yeah, just another thing to keep in mind. One nice thing is that the Pagani design PD1661 bracelet does fit, and it fits pretty good. So if you don't like this thing, spend $15 on the Pagani bracelet and you'll be happy. You'll get a better clasp, better bracelet. It doesn't quite fit as nicely contoured to the case, but it's still a much nicer bracelet for this watch. It makes it feel completely different in my opinion. So definitely look into upgrading to the 1661 bracelet, and I'll leave a link to that down below. Let's talk about any quality control issues. There was none on this thing. Everything aligns nicely. Even the Cyclops is good on this one. Maybe a little bit coarse threading on that crown, but other than that, no other issues. So there you have it. That's the STEELDIVE 1953. I really like it. Again, a thank you to Chris for sending this in. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. If you are interested in picking this up, like I said, I found it for $90 down below. I'll leave a link for you. Definitely, if you're good with the color on this thing, I see no reason to not buy this over the Pagani design. Speaking of that, let's bring these in. So, I've got all the Hulks here. So I think overall, obviously the San Martin, it's just a total package. It's excellent. You can see everything is just a lot sharper on this. So let's see here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but just the lines on the San Martin are so much sharper. And I mean, I'm not saying the brushing is any better, because it's really not. The polishing, I think, is it's a step above. But just the sharpness of all the transitions is flawless on the San Martin. You also do have a little bit more of a turn down to the lugs. You can see that on the San Martin. So overall, I definitely prefer the San Martin over the STEELDIVE, and which is not really a surprise, because it's twice the price. And yeah, I think if you can find this thing for sale for $160, $170, definitely check it out. I got this one used for like $120, so it was kind of a no-brainer to get this San Martin. But yeah, I think the STEELDIVE is a really nice offering, especially when you compare it to the Pagani design. So you can see the color difference there. Definitely a bright green on this Pagani. The handset, you can see the handset on the Pagani design. I'm not a big fan of it. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just not as nice, I don't think. The blue AR might put off some people. I wouldn't let it sway my decision too much. But the overall case finishing on this, very similar to the Pagani. Pretty much identical. So I don't think that has an advantage over it one way or another. The big advantage for the Pagani is the included bracelet. I think it's a lot nicer than the included bracelet on the STEELDIVE. Like I said, they are swappable, so you might even have a 1661 bracelet sitting around. Who knows? But the big advantage for the STEELDIVE is, I think, better bezel and much better lume. So, you can, I guess, base your decision on that. I think these two they kind of go head to head, right? So it's nice to see them side by side. I'm thankful to be able to check them out at the same time, show you guys that as well. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. What would you go with? I was waiting to get in this watch, the STEELDIVE, just so I could compare them all side by side kind of. And this Pagani design, I like it. I think it's still a great value at $76, but I'm going to be selling this thing. So if you are interested and you see this, drop me a message below. We'll get in touch. We'll work something out. But yeah, I think that's about it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked seeing the other ones side by side, you know, leave a comment down below. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. It all helps the channel. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me, all the encouragement. Makes me want to keep on doing this. So I do have a few watches lined up, but I'm running a little dry on watches. So if you guys do want to help me out and maybe send me a watch in that I can review, I will be happy to pay shipping both ways inside the United States. And yeah, we'll work something out. But yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.